On the surface, everything about Alyssa Carter's life looked perfect. At just 26 years old, Alyssa had built a growing online following as a lifestyle influencer. Her Instagram feed was a carefully curated collection of morning routines, luxury coffee shops, fitness clips, and travel photos taken under golden sunsets. To her 200,000 followers, Alyssa looked like someone who had figured life out. Every post told the same story. A young woman living her dream. But behind the polished photos and bright captions, the truth was more complicated. Because Alyssa's success online wasn't as stable as it appeared. Over the past few months, her engagement numbers had started to fall. Fewer likes, fewer comments, fewer brand deals. The influencer world moves quickly, and newer creators were starting to replace her in the algorithm. To someone watching from the outside, it looked like a minor problem. But for Alyssa, it felt like everything she had worked for was slipping away. Her income depended on attention, and attention was fading. Friends later said she had become obsessed with staying relevant online. She constantly checked analytics. She studied trending topics. She talked about needing something big to bring her account back into the spotlight. No one realized how serious she was. 2 weeks before everything unraveled, Alyssa uploaded a video to her followers. She sat in her car, the camera slightly shaky, speaking in a nervous tone. "I just feel like something weird has been going on lately," she said. She told her audience that someone had been following her. A black SUV, she claimed. It had appeared near her apartment several times. In parking lots. Outside the gym. Once even outside a restaurant where she had been filming content. Her followers reacted immediately. The comments flooded in. People told her to be careful. Some urged her to contact the police. Others speculated that she might have a stalker. For Alyssa, the attention worked. Her video gained hundreds of thousands of views within hours. But that was only the beginning. Over the next few days, she continued posting updates. Short clips. Nervous messages. Stories describing strange things happening around her. In one video, she showed a dark vehicle parked across the street. In another, she said someone had tried to follow her home. Each update drew more viewers. Concern turned into fascination. Her follower count began rising again. Exactly what she wanted. But the situation escalated quickly. One evening, Alyssa posted a message that alarmed everyone who followed her. The video was short. She appeared visibly shaken. "I think someone tried to grab me today," she said. Her voice trembled. She explained that while leaving a grocery store parking lot, a man had approached her car. According to her story, he had tried to open the passenger door before she sped away. Her followers were terrified. The video spread rapidly across social media. Comments poured in from people urging her to report everything to the police. Many of them believed her life was in danger. The narrative had become bigger than just a social media story. It now looked like a possible crime in progress. Behind the scenes, Alyssa continued documenting everything. Screenshots, photos, videos. But something about the story felt strange to a few people close to her. One of her friends later told investigators that the events sounded dramatic. Almost too dramatic. But at the time, no one openly questioned it. After all, people trusted what they saw online. And Alyssa looked genuinely scared. Then one night, everything changed. At 9:47 p.m., Alyssa posted a final Instagram story. The video lasted only 5 seconds. It showed the inside of her car. The camera shook violently. A shadow moved near the window. Then Alyssa screamed. The video cut to black. Within minutes, the clip spread across social media. Followers panicked. Comments flooded her page. People asked if she was safe. But Alyssa never posted again that night. Her phone went silent. Messages went unanswered. Calls went straight to voicemail. For the next 12 hours, no one heard from her. Not her friends. Not her family. Not her followers. The next morning, Alyssa Carter was officially reported missing. Local police opened an investigation. Detectives began reviewing the videos she had posted online. What they saw looked deeply concerning. A young woman claiming she was being stalked. Evidence suggesting someone had been following her. And a final video that seemed to capture the moment something went wrong. At first glance, it looked like a kidnapping. The story quickly spread across local news outlets. Headlines appeared online. Influencer feared abducted. Police searching for missing woman. The internet exploded with theories. Some believed a stalker had finally acted. Others began analyzing every detail in Alyssa's videos. Trying to find clues. Trying to figure out what had happened. But as investigators started looking deeper into the situation, they began noticing small details that didn't quite make sense. Things that didn't match the story. Tiny inconsistencies hidden within the evidence. At first they seemed insignificant. But over the next few days, those details would lead detectives toward a possibility no one had considered. Because what appeared to be a terrifying crime might not have been a crime at all. And the truth behind Alyssa Carter's disappearance was far stranger than anyone expected. By the time the sun rose the morning after Alyssa Carter disappeared, the story had already spread far beyond her followers. Local news stations picked it up first, then national blogs. Within hours, her name was trending across social media. The narrative was clear. A young influencer had documented a terrifying stalking situation online, and now she was missing. To many people watching from the outside, the conclusion seemed obvious. Someone had finally taken her. At the police department, detectives began reviewing everything Alyssa had posted over the past 2 weeks. Every video, every photo, every message. Investigators knew that social media could sometimes provide valuable clues in missing person cases. And Alyssa had left behind a massive digital trail. At first, the evidence looked convincing. The videos showed fear. Her voice sounded shaken. The stories she told appeared consistent. But experienced investigators have a habit of looking past the surface. And it didn't take long before something started to feel unusual. The first strange detail appeared in the video where Alyssa claimed a black SUV had been following her. Detectives pulled traffic camera footage from the area she mentioned. They reviewed hours of recordings from nearby intersections. Eventually, they located Alyssa's car leaving the parking lot where she said the SUV had appeared. But there was a problem. No black SUV. None. Not behind her. Not nearby. Not even entering the lot around the same time. At first, investigators assumed they might have the wrong location or time. So they expanded the search. More cameras. More angles. Still nothing. The vehicle Alyssa described simply didn't appear in any footage. The next step was reviewing the grocery store incident she had described online. In her video, Alyssa claimed that a man tried to open her passenger door in the parking lot. Detectives contacted the store and requested surveillance footage. The cameras covered most of the parking area. After reviewing the recordings from that evening, they found Alyssa's car. She walked out of the store with a bag of groceries, got into the driver's seat, sat there for about 30 seconds, then suddenly accelerated out of the parking lot. But no one approached the car. No one attempted to open the door. The parking space beside her remained empty. For investigators, this was the first real red flag. At this point, detectives faced 2 possibilities. Either Alyssa had genuinely been frightened and misunderstood what she saw, or the events she described simply never happened. But the investigation was just beginning. Meanwhile, the search for Alyssa intensified. Volunteers organized search groups. Posters appeared around the city. Her followers flooded police tip lines with theories and possible sightings. Some believed she had been taken by a stalker. Others suspected someone close to her. The pressure on investigators grew quickly. Missing person cases involving social media attention often escalate fast. And the public wanted answers. 2 days after Alyssa disappeared, detectives made another discovery. They examined the final video she had posted, the one where she screamed inside her car. At first glance it looked chaotic. The camera shook violently. A shadow moved near the window. Her scream sounded terrified. But investigators slowed the footage down frame by frame. And what they noticed was subtle, but important. The shadow outside the window never actually touched the car. In fact, it didn't look like a person standing next to the vehicle at all. The shape was distorted, almost like something passing by quickly. One detective pointed out a possibility. Headlights. If another car drove past Alyssa's parked vehicle, its headlights could create a shadow moving across the glass. Investigators checked nearby traffic cameras again. And sure enough, at the exact time Alyssa posted the video, another car passed through the street beside her parking spot. The timing matched perfectly, which meant the shadow might not have been a person at all, just light. As detectives continued digging, they began examining Alyssa's phone records and financial activity. This is standard procedure in missing person investigations. Often, digital behavior reveals where someone might have gone. But what they found raised even more questions. 2 days before her disappearance, Alyssa had withdrawn a large amount of cash, nearly $5,000. The transaction took place at a bank branch across town, and the withdrawal wasn't mentioned in any of her videos. For someone supposedly afraid of being followed, traveling across town to withdraw cash seemed unusual. Even stranger, Her phone had briefly connected to a cell tower nearly 50 miles outside the city the night she disappeared. Only for a few minutes, but long enough to leave a trace. Now investigators had a new theory. What if Alyssa Carter hadn't been kidnapped at all? What if she had left on her own? The idea seemed unlikely at first. After all, why would someone create weeks of videos about being stalked, only to disappear voluntarily? It didn't make sense. But the more detectives looked at the evidence, the more the possibility grew. The missing SUV, the grocery store footage, the strange shadow in the final video, the cash withdrawal, and the mysterious cell tower connection. Individually, each detail might have meant nothing, but together they formed a pattern. A pattern that suggested something very different from a kidnapping. Then, late on the third night of the investigation, police received a call that would completely change the case. A small roadside motel nearly 50 miles outside the city had contacted authorities. The manager said one of their guests looked familiar. Very familiar. He had seen her face on the news earlier that day. The woman checked into the motel using cash. She wore a baseball cap and sunglasses. But the manager was almost certain about one thing. The missing influencer everyone was searching for might be sitting inside room 214. And if that was true, the mystery surrounding Alyssa Carter's disappearance was about to unravel. In a way no one expected. Detectives drove through the night to the small roadside motel 50 miles outside the city. The tension in the car was thick. Every detail from the investigation flashed through their minds. The missing SUV that never existed, the grocery store footage that didn't match her story, the shadow in the final video that turned out to be nothing, the cash withdrawal, the brief cell tower connection. Everything was pointing to one shocking conclusion. Alyssa Carter might not have been kidnapped at all. When they arrived, the motel looked ordinary. Neon lights flickered over a cracked parking lot, and a single humming sign read vacancy. Room 214 was on the second floor. The manager, visibly nervous, led the detectives up the narrow staircase. He pointed to the door. "She's in there," he said. "Cash payment, sunglasses, baseball cap." One detective knocked firmly. "Police." Alyssa Carter opened the door. Inside, the room was dimly lit. A suitcase sat on the bed. The blinds were drawn. For a moment there was silence. Then Alyssa opened the door. She looked tired, anxious, but also relieved. The sunglasses hid her eyes. She seemed to know something everyone else didn't. Detectives stepped inside. "Miss Carter, you're not in any danger right now. We need to ask you some questions." Alyssa's lips trembled. She stayed quiet for a few seconds. Then, slowly she began talking. Over the next hour, the truth came out. Alyssa admitted everything. The stalking. The SUV. The man at the grocery store. The shadow in the car. All fabricated. She confessed that her followers were slipping, engagement dropping, sponsorships disappearing. She had panicked. She had created the staged kidnapping as a way to regain attention. Every video had been carefully planned. She had filmed parts in her car alone. Edited clips to make shadows look like a stalker. Even the final scream? Practiced multiple times before posting. Her disappearance? Voluntary. The motel was pre-booked. She had withdrawn cash to cover expenses. She had gone off-grid to make the story believable. The detectives listened, stunned. In her confession, Alyssa tried to explain. I needed people to care again. Everyone was moving on and I felt invisible. I didn't mean for it to go this far." But the law didn't see it the same way. She was charged with filing a false report, fraud, and misleading law enforcement. Depending on the jurisdiction, the staged kidnapping could also carry additional legal consequences. News of the revelation spread like wildfire. The same followers who had panicked days earlier now reacted with anger and disbelief. Online forums exploded. "She faked a kidnapping? Seriously? I can't believe people believed her. How do you even recover from this?" The story became a cautionary tale about the dark side of influencer culture. Legal experts interviewed on TV explained why Alyssa's case was so significant. It wasted police resources. Hours of investigation, countless officers and public search efforts had been diverted because of her deception. It put others at risk. Real missing persons cases might have been overshadowed. It showed the power of social media. One person could manipulate hundreds of thousands of people into believing a fabricated crime. Months later, Alyssa faced sentencing. She apologized publicly, though many critics said it was too little, too late. Her follower count had dropped dramatically. Brands dropped her sponsorships. The influencer lifestyle she once had vanished almost entirely. The staged kidnapping that was meant to restore her fame had instead destroyed her credibility. The case left a lingering question that still circulates online. How far will someone go for attention? And what price are people willing to pay for social media fame? Alyssa Carter's story became a lesson in the extremes of influencer culture. A shocking, cautionary tale that reminded everyone that actions leave traces, digital footprints never lie, and deception, no matter how clever, eventually comes to light. The internet watched. The police investigated. And the truth finally was revealed.